Houston, motherfucking Texas, ho. Houston, motherfucking Texas, ho. Houston, motherfucking Texas, ho.
Welcome back, guys, to Bar Coded Chats with your girl, Niteria and
Sydney.
We are back with another video and a very special guest.
Hello. My name is Colleen Kelley.
Anything else you want to say? You want to talk about your art? She's a great artist, guys.
Yeah. I don't have too many social media accounts. I really just have one. It's for an art account. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Colleen Kelley Creations.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes.
It's so exciting. I get to see finally how the magic works. So
right.
I'm ready.
Got a lot of magic over here. I'm just yes. And a little back note, Colleen and I went to college together.
Hendrix College.
Yes.
This was a long time ago. We've known each other for
Lord Jesus.
8 years.
I guess, 2011 to now.
Yeah.
And then to think you literally went to high school, like right around the way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Never knew that. So.
Small world.
Small world.
Small world. We really could have crossed paths at any time.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
I've been in that area before, like, so that's so crazy. Have to go all the way to Arkansas to meet people who live in your state.
No,
You
really,
know.
that's crazy.
Sometimes it takes a long way to get social, but
No,
that's
really.
okay.
So, guys, thank you for coming to another episode. We've been holding out on you. This topic is about mental illness.
Yes.
Mental illness, mental awareness, mental health.
Yes.
All of that. But I want to kick it off. Y'all know me. I got a definition, though.
No.
For those who are listening and they're like, what is it this? What are you talking about? So, defined by Google, mental illnesses are health conditions involving changes in emotion, thinking, or behavior, or a combination of all three or two or whatever. And then mental illnesses are associated with distress and or problems functioning in social work or family activities.
Yes, go off Webster's Dictionary.
Okay.
So off the bat, is that like what y'all would think if y'all were to come up with a definition? Is that like, or do you think it's a little bit more than that? Or
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, because I do think everything like emotionally and everything that happens in your life does play a toll and a role in your mental health. And so, yeah, it's pretty right on the head, I guess it is.
okay.
And June was Mental Health Awareness Month, so you guys are right on the tail. Of,
Yes.
I thought it was May. I didn't know which one. I didn't know if it switches.
I think it's June. I'm 90% sure it's June.
Okay.
It might not be. I could be lying.
I-
I'm pretty sure, though.
Well, I'm not gonna just to say. I googled Mental Health Awareness Month.
Oh,
Sunday,
my gosh.
May 1st through.
Oh, shit.
I don't know. That's why I'm like, does it keep changing
Comes
every
on the
month?
podcast to lie.
Because I thought it was June once too. That's why I'm like, dude, have they just been trying to figure out a month?
I swear it's been June one time. I swear to God. I swear.
That's what I figured too, because I feel like we did a mental health. We've done a mental health episode.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, guys, I want to read some of these statistics.
Yeah, hit
because
us
I was
with
kind of reading, and I was like, and then we can definitely branch off, and then that'll be the end of stats. But so 19% of adults experience a mental illness. That's over 1.5 million people over last year. So that's a 19%, and then suicide is up like 0.15%, especially with COVID. 24% of adults with a mental illness report unmet needs for the treatment, which I figured that number is higher. 9.7% of the youth in the U.S. have severe major depression, and it's the highest rate among youth who identify as more than one race. And then you got 60% of youth with depression that don't receive any mental health treatment.
That's really high.
Even in states with great access. So that means 1 in 3 people are going without treatment. Even among the youth with severe depression who receives treatment, only 27% receive consistent care. And then 10.8% of Americans with a mental illness are uninsured. So, I mean, just like, that's why everybody's just kind of.
When they say youth, what are they talking about exactly?
I wonder if they're talking about under 18.
Under 18,
I think they
probably.
are. I think they're talking that 12 to 18.
Yeah.
Maybe 30. I guess you could say it maybe started at 13. Cause well, teenagers.
12 to
maybe.
18, I would say that's a youth.
Yeah.
1 to 3 go untreated. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yes. So that's why I guess I wanted to ask the question, and we were also talking about it last night. But I think it's just how America handles and defines illness.
Yeah.
That's just what those statistics. It's like we were saying. It's like a lock and key type of thing. You just lock people away because it's just easier. Let's just get them off the street.
Yeah.
Nobody has to be bothered. We all can forget that person is over there dealing with a lot of fucked up shit, and just gonna put them in this room, and everybody else can just like sleep better
Yeah.
because we locked them all away.
Right.
So that's what.
Which is crazy because that doesn't do anything but make the situation worse, or like nobody's gonna look into it. I don't know why. And then I know that happens a lot in jail. Like when putting somebody literally away and putting them in jail, like if you have a mental illness or mental health issues, they don't care because they feel like you're less than, which is crazy. Like that's crazy.
Literally, yeah, you're already in jail and they think less than you. And then if you're in jail with a mental illness, they think like, oh, you just, what, you have no hope.
You
like,
hit the negative jackpot.
Right.
Literally. Yeah.
Well, historically, like, America has had a really complicated relationship with mental health. And when in the previous centuries, we had sanatoriums that if you had someone crazy in your family or something like that, you just sent your relative to a sanatorium. And that was a messed up situation because, I mean, you could send anybody for nothing. Like,
literally nothing.
an unwanted child, send it to a sanatorium. Like, that kind of thing. But when we got rid of those in, I think it was like maybe the 30s or something, or 40s, when that kind of got disbanded. Yeah,
but I feel like lobotomies came in.
Yeah, kind of around that time, I think. But once that kind of that system got disbanded, it was either you put people that were mentally ill in like a hospital, but only hospitals can hold you for X amount of days.
Right.
And so the prisons had to kind of pick up the slack of where sanatoriums were. So now if you have a mental illness and you undoubtedly have some sort of break and you commit a crime, you're going to go to prison.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's the only place that they can put you, really.
Or prison, but it'll be prison like in a facility though. Yeah. So you're locked up with everybody else, and then y'all are all just being treated the same. I feel like nobody's actually has a plan for those people in there to actually treat them.
No. And there are facilities that are geared towards people with mental health issues that are kind of like sanatorium light, but they're very expensive, and usually families would have to pay out of pocket to put your family member there. It's like a rehab facility. Like they're not covered by insurance. They're very expensive, and
most rehab is expensive.
Do you think they make rehabs expensive so less people can afford to go there?
I don't know. I know there's rehab facilities that can be covered by government assistance, but a lot of rehab is out of pocket. Yeah. And it is a little bit, it's kind of like the funeral industry. Like, it is a little money grabby and feels a little dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, because in the time of a funeral, it's like, you don't really need to sell people $20,000 worth of shit when they just lost.
Right, they're suffering, and you're.
Would you like this oak pine for 20% more?
Right.
Like, yeah. Or like little all types of stuff. And then hopping back to what you said about hospitals, I feel like also it's kind of a weird rule from at least what I'm thinking. Like, you can't really admit somebody sometimes. Like, everybody has to be consenting and on the same page. So you can have somebody with an issue that needs to go in, but they won't take them because, like, if they're not giving consent, like, you know.
Well, the only way that you can get taken to a hospital if you have a mental health issue is if you are in danger to yourself or others. So if you're having some sort of like depressive episode, but you're not in danger of killing yourself or hurting somebody else, then no, you can't go to the hospital. Mm-hmm. You have to be in like imminent danger to go to the hospital.
Makes sense. Yeah, this isn't funny, but it just reminds me of that Office episode when Michael tried to take Meredith. When they had that rehab, and they're like, "Sir, you can't bring her here against her will."
That's not how this works. Yeah.
But so speaking of all of that, does anybody here? There's so many different types of illnesses. There's a very large range. It's not just, depression and anxiety, which kind of are like the main two I feel like people use.
Yeah.
But does anybody here have any diagnosis or anything?
Yeah, man. So the reason I'm here on this episode for mental health is because your girl is mentally ill and we out here and we crazy. But so I have bipolar disorder type 2, which is, just to kind of give you a background on what bipolar disorder is, it's kind of like a spectrum. There's no real, everybody can have different sorts of experiences in bipolar disorder. The most common are 1 and 2. So 1 is kind of what you see in TV and movies, like she's crying 1 minute and then she's angry the next. Like, that's bipolar type 1, and it's very extremes, and usually the extremes are very close together, so you can usually see that pretty easily. Type 2, which is what I have, is formed and patterned by episodes of depression and hypomania. So whereas a bipolar disorder type 1 person will have mania that is very extreme, they'll see things, hear things, it's pretty intense. Hypomania is really just this elevated state of energy. So I'll have kind of a elevated state of anxiety and energy where I don't need to sleep for days. I make really rash decisions because I have this like anxiety about me. And usually it couples with behaviors like not being able to regulate your money very well, not being able to make good decisions, and it's not because like, oh, she dumb, she can't make decisions. It's really it's a state of psychological delusion. And then that high of hypomania is paralleled with the depression. So whereas you go into hypomania for a couple days, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, you'll follow that with a depression stage, which will last the same amount of time and be just kind of the opposite of hypomania. You're depressed, you can't get out of bed, real low energy, that kind of thing.
When were you first feeling like that you might have a mental illness, or when did you feel like you were first diagnosed properly?
I was first like officially diagnosed with bipolar disorder type 2 pretty recently. I think I was 25 when I got like officially diagnosed, but I've been seeking help for it since I was like 23.
Okay.
And it just takes like, that's the problem with the health system, especially mental health, is it takes so long to find a doctor that can accurately diagnose you. Right. And then it also takes so long to figure out what medications work correctly for you.
Right.
Because some medications that work for bipolar disorder people work on some and not on others, and it's just kind of a game of, we'll test this one this month and we'll test this one that month and see what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah,
And I
and
hate
so
that,
it just
yeah,
takes
'cause
it
you're
takes
not a
like
lab
a
rat.
long ass time to get yourself better and figure it out. But now I'm on stable medication. I have been for 3 years and I'm totally fine. I live a very normal, complete life and I'm very happy. But when I am not on medication, it is a little bit crazy town and things can get pretty intense.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling amazing.
Yeah, things are great now. As long as you're getting help and seeking professionals, you can live a totally normal life. So, yeah.
Yes, definitely. And just listening to you with the whole, how you say, like, doctor and medicine. So it's like going back to those statistics, I guess, maybe makes sense because, like, sometimes people don't have the resources or the time to sit there and go to different doctors and have to, like, go find all that kind of stuff. And it's a lot. And then sometimes not even time or resources, people don't want to because you have to, like, face that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And people never want to say, oh, something might be wrong with me.
Yeah. Or you just might not know.
Right.
Like, a lot of times when I was in states of hypomania, everyone around me would be like, you're acting insane. And I didn't think I was. I thought I was acting totally reasonable to what I was feeling, but it was extreme.
I feel like thinking back, maybe I was like, I don't think there was anything wrong with that.
That might be a sign, Sydney.
You were fine. You were great.
But
No, it was just more, I think, my logic. Like, when I would go into those states, like, I couldn't connect the dots very well, and so I would be making these decisions really quickly of like, that makes sense, and that didn't make any sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, and I also had tons of panic attacks. That's another side effect of the hypomania. You're in kind of that elevated state of anxiety, and so your body just like freaks out super hard, and you have a panic attack.
Gotcha.
Yes, I definitely suffer from anxiety and depression myself, but definitely not on that level. So,
what do you do?
It's not a contest.
right.
It's not, I don't win.
So what do you do to handle that?
Your anxiety and depression.
Well, I take medication. So, like she said, I went to doctors. I do feel like that you do need to find a good doctor, general practitioners, which they usually tell you to go to get medicated. That's just the easiest way to get medicated and the fastest way, but it's not the correct way.
They don't.
You got to
really
find,
know.
like you said, the doctor that specializes in that, so they can diagnose you correctly. Like you said, I don't like the trying different medications out because, you know, they can have bad side effects or they don't work. Like, I've tried different anxiety medicines to where I just still feel anxious, and I feel like, what's the point of me taking this medication if I'm still going to feel this way?
Right.
And yeah, like, no, my anxiety got too bad to where I just constantly throw up. Just because, like, that's what I felt like would make me feel better, which is weird because I ain't losing no weight. But that's not the point. So
Didn't even get the benefit.
right. So yeah, definitely got to find the right doctor and therapy. I mean, I've only been to one therapy session, but Sydney's always like, you need to get into therapy,
Yeah.
Y'all know, if y'all are listeners, if you're a new listener, I am a huge advocate of therapy.
Yes. Therapy is wonderful. It is the hardest thing you will do for yourself, but the best thing you will do for yourself, for sure.
Yes. So.
Yes. That's what I was going to say. So, well, I've never kind of sought out to be diagnosed. My mom has wanted to get me diagnosed for ADD and ADHD a lot. She's wanted to get me tested. But I go to therapy. Been in therapy for like over a year now. Still in the thick of it, but I can say I am out of some things. I am out of some areas, and definitely definitely helped when, if y'all heard the Friends episode, definitely helped when I was going through that whole situation. And see, I think I'm a different, sometimes, you know, you have your illnesses that you can diagnose and treat and things. And then sometimes I feel like I kind of have a therapist because I land on the more I just like can't deal with life sometimes. I really can't. And so I have to,
talk it out.
You got to talk it out. And sometimes you people might say, you can just talk to anybody. No, because you can't, because you can't talk about your life and like moving forward or being stuck that if you talking to somebody that's in the same position as you.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to be helpful. Like, your friends are great. I get everybody loves their friends, but a friend can't do everything for you.
Right.
And your friends are going to be biased.
Yeah.
Extremely biased.
It's good to get an unbiased opinion of your life and your behaviors. Because, I mean, your friends love you, but everybody has an agenda, you know?
Exactly. Everybody, at the end of the day, people sometimes are just going to tell people what they want to hear.
Right.
It's just, so that's why therapy is great. You can vent. It shouldn't be scary. I get why it's scary, because it's somebody you don't know.
Telling intimate parts of your life.
But just imagine them. It's like you're telling a secret that nobody will ever find out about.
Yeah.
This is very true.
Unless somebody finds their magic journal and then reads it.
How was your first experience with it?
When I first went to therapy, man, oh my gosh, so I just like broke down. Like, I was like, she had to go get tissues out the room. Like, an hour is not long enough. Like, you feel like I need to spend the day with you. Like, ma'am, I haven't even told you an hour worth of my life and I'm breaking down. So just imagine the shit that people don't know about. Like, you know, like, and sometimes, like you said, talking to somebody that's unbiased, like, you need that because you can't talk to anybody. So you holding that in is just making you just like sick. Yeah. So when you finally can just like vomit your feelings, you're like, I can't stop, like, and it just brings out so many emotions. So, yeah, like, therapy is definitely something you need to get in. The only thing is that sometimes therapy is not covered by insurance, or people can't afford it.
It is
or
expensive.
Things like that. So, I wish it was more affordable and accessible to, you know, people that really need it.
Pause right there. We're gonna come back to that.
Okay.
But diverting, because you're right, accessibility. But so speaking of all of these and labels, how do I put this? Does everybody want to be labeled something? I feel like just with mental health becoming more of a thing and people choosing to talk about it and more people are doing things about it and being more vocalizing and aware. But do we think that people are trying to, I have anxiety today, or I'm so depressed? Like, are people trying to use these labels to make excuses for bullshit things you're just not doing in your life?
I don't think so, because I don't feel like wanting to be labeled with anxiety and depression is anything cute or proud of. Like, I would love to say, like, I'm 100% mentally healthy. Like, I feel like anybody should want to say that. So if you're out here seeking attention, like, for that reason wrongfully, then, you know, karma's a bitch. It's gonna come back and bite you. So, but like, yeah, I hope nobody's out here just like, oh my God, there are people that are out there making excuses for things that they just don't want to do. For sure. But for somebody that, you know, that does take the time out to go and you are medicated and different things like that, I don't feel like that's anything that somebody should want to spend money on and time and energy when you can just get out here and shit. I wish I could wake up every day in a fucking jolly ass mood, but that's not me. Like, so
definitely money. I pay out of pocket for therapy. That was a choice of mine, because at the time I could have got it covered through my insurance with my job, but I chose my therapist, and I did go through therapy for Black girls. I wanted my therapist to be Black and female. I was just not going to budge on that at all. Whether it was insured or not, they had to be Black and a female. I'm not talking to anybody else. So
is that just for the relatability?
Yes, and comfortability. Yeah. Not only relatability, just comfortability. I just knew I would, if I'm going to do this, I know I'll do it that way
with her.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that, and okay, so that's I wanted to see, y'all. So people playing cute, and with the, I don't know, because sometimes I be on Twitter a lot, and I just feel like, I know mental illness is a thing, but are you just saying you're depressed because like somebody didn't take you to Chick-fil-A today? Like,
I'm dead.
I do have, I have kind of mixed feelings about the original question you asked was like, are labels a good thing, or do you feel like people are abusing them?
Yeah,
correct?
kind of abusing. Yeah,
I think in my experience, it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like having a label because it gives me something to tell people when they ask. However, I don't like having a label in the sense that I do have a mental illness that I have to claim on things like when I get hired at a new job,
really?
I look for work, I have to claim that I have a mental illness on a lot of
box for that.
yeah. And if I don't expose that, or if I put I don't want to answer or leave it blank or something, and then something happens later on down the road, I could be liable and lose a job. So I don't like that part, because people say that, oh, that doesn't matter, or like they'll still hire you, but people are petty, and
Right.
they will discriminate over if there's two people and they have the same resume, but one says I'm mentally ill.
Who do you think?
Why
they're
would
gonna
you
choose?
Why would
Right.
you choose that?
Exactly.
So I don't like that. I've also noticed personally, especially in the younger generation, mental illness is a little romanticized and a little bit like there's a girl, like this is the trope I always see in media and movies. There's like a mentally ill girl and she meets a guy and he like saves her from being mentally ill. You know?
Kind of.
Like a Fault in Our Stars sort of
Okay.
situation.
Read that book in an entire plane ride.
And I've seen that. Like, I see that in my cousins. I see that in younger people, that they kind of romanticize it. Like, you're this tragic character.
Yeah, people I like guys that look depressed, you know, or like I think that goes to women who want to fix men.
Yeah, it's all sorts of spectrums, and like that could be a whole thing.
Like, oh, I'm that's the biggest form of love. I'm like transforming you, but
yeah, I'm like helping you.
people need to help themselves. That's what I've learned.
Before they can help somebody else.
Because I know that come to realizations, while my intentions are good, I do try to push a one-way narrative sometimes on people, just because I just want the best for people. But it's just like, you can't, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they're not going to do anything to help themselves.
Right.
So people have to help themselves first, and you got to like allow for that, even if it is frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of people, do you feel like your family and friends have supported you or y'all through this? I don't really have a diagnosis, so did you get support? Like, did you run out and tell people? Did you like, how did you handle that with alerting people once you?
I really didn't have a choice in alerting people, because I would like bring my family and friends into my bullshit quite a bit. And I really didn't do it intentionally. It's just like when you're having a panic attack or an episode, that was thunder.
Right? Yeah,
I think that's thunder. Oh man,
all day. What the hell?
Oh man,
That's crazy.
That'll be fun to drive back in. Yeah, I really didn't have a choice. Like, they had to be involved or I was gonna have a situation.
Mm-hmm.
And once it was a lot of, at the very beginning when it was really bad, it was a lot of my parents making me do things that I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go to these places. I didn't want to go to these doctors. But, and we still have this kind of dynamic now. In even though I was 24, I had to be kind of little kidded. Like I had to be kind of taken care of.
Coddle, glove, hand, yeah.
Yeah,
gloves
like
on, yeah.
I couldn't make decisions for myself. And we still have that dynamic now a little bit. It's much better, but I can see them sometimes like walking on eggshells around what they say, or if I say something like, "Oh, I'm really stressed out today," my mom's first reaction is usually like, "Have you been taking your medication?" And so it's a situation that I have created for myself, but and they've been very supportive in getting me the help I need. If for some reason I didn't have the money, they always helped. But it did change our dynamic quite a bit when it first happened, and we're still kind of recovering from the onset of my bipolar disorder. As far as other people, my friends have been very supportive. My fiance is very wonderful, and
he's awesome.
Yeah, he's wonderful. He makes sure that I have the medication I need, that I go to my appointments, and in some ways he at certain times has taken on a caretaker role, which I do feel guilty that he has had to do that, and I hate that that has created or manifested. But for the most part, everything has been wonderful, and it's been great. Having 3 years of like very much stability has been wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree. I do feel like my friends have definitely been supportive, and I think that also just comes from them. Our generation is more in tune with our mental health, as far as like the older generation, like our parents. I do feel like it's kind of harder to introduce a mental illness or a mental health issue with your family that they feel like, we haven't seen this in you. Or, you know, we've been around you this whole time. You seem fine. Like, or, you know, oh, you just want like attention or being dramatic or something like that. And it's just like, it's like kind of like they're throwing your feelings away or throwing, you know, it's just like, okay, well then that's why I don't come and talk about it, because, you know, it can be thrown away just because like these people have seen you grow up. So they just feel like, you know, whatever. So
devaluing your experience.
So then that's why you have to take the initiative to go and do the research on your own and go find your own doctor and go into your appointments, unless you have somebody that is supportive like your fiance. Other than that, you're going to go by yourself and do what you got to do and then try to fix yourself. So, I mean, I do think it is good to have that support. I know when I was bad in my anxiety attacks, that I know, like, I would call my mom and I'm like, I can't sleep. I'm sick. Like, I'm throwing up. And she, like, you know, the first thing a person wants to tell somebody that has anxiety is calm down.
Right, and that's the total opposite.
Yeah, you should
I can't calm down.
Yeah, when you should just shut your mouth. I've been there with a friend of mine who has panic attacks, and you just.
She's been in the car when we were in that traffic coming from Galveston.
Oh shit!
And I was having a whole anxiety attack. And when I say Sydney was dead silent in the car, and I'm just flowing tears, just. And
she's just like, nothing I can say.
No.
But the best thing for me is to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only
anything I say will make this worse.
Yeah.
The only thing I've found that's like helpful during that is for someone to say like, just breathe, or it's gonna end. Like.
Yeah. I just, whenever my friend had it, I held her hand.
Yeah.
I breathed with her. And I just said, like, you know, we count. I just say basic things. You don't have to apologize.
No.
Like, don't apologize. Don't try to, like, don't tell them to calm down or chill out or take, like.
That's literally trigger words for people with anxiety.
Yeah.
Because do you think they're not trying to calm down?
Like, that's why I'm having anxiety. I'm trying to.
That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Exactly.
And it's just not working.
Right. So, yeah. That's where that can come in, but it's definitely good to have support when you're going through things like that.
Yeah.
Let's hop back into therapy, kind of.
Okay.
That's
Let's hop back.
support-ish. So I want to take what you said. So I think it's interesting. You said you don't think it's accessible, and I kind of feel like it is a little bit more accessible, especially with all the online therapy that's popping up, like BetterHelp.
Yeah.
And stuff like
and
that.
Talkspace and things like that.
Talkspace, that's the other one. BetterHelp, Talkspace. Although I do know that people are now starting to write articles saying that
The quality of it.
yeah, the quality
I've
of
heard
it
that
isn't
too.
great. But I've also heard people say that, like, it's literally just a jumping off point for you to get comfortable to find a not a real therapist, because the therapists on there are real, but it's kind of a point for you to say, okay, I've done this online. Maybe I can book a real appointment now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like a little appetizer to therapy.
Literally, it's supposed to help people ease it in, and maybe if they
Test it
took
out.
that approach to it. But I think it's still very accessible. I think it still kind of changed the game. It allowed some people who were like, okay, I can do this.
Right.
So yeah, why not? Let me take the next step.
Yeah. What do y'all think when y'all saw stuff like BetterHelp and Talkspace come out?
I thought it was great. In fact, I tried to use BetterHelp when the pandemic started because I couldn't get to my therapist at the time because we were locked down and all that kind of stuff. But I never found a counselor on there that I particularly liked. But I think they're great resources to have,
Right.
especially if you are not in a location that has counselors and therapists on. A lot of people live in places that just you can't get to them. That's a big part of it too.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so do y'all think, I was just thinking, and I'm like, because ever since you asked me about that thing, she asked me, she was like, why don't you like be like an activist or something? And then I was like, so I started kind of thinking, I was like, okay, should more be done at a younger age? Should we be trying to implement more programs or even workshops or something in middle schools and stuff to help the kids, since everybody kind of says it's the shit that happens in your childhood that fucks you up as an adult.
I totally agree.
Do we think
Amen
we
to
can
that.
get in there and like turn it around at a young age and maybe fix these people as they grow up? Or do you think like shit's just gonna happen no matter what?
No, I definitely agree that you should definitely implement. I know in my schools, in elementary and stuff, we had counselors, but our counselors weren't like therapy counselors. They were just kind of like, I'm gonna help you with pick your classes, like kind of like that. So, but I do feel like we need counselors, not even just starting in middle school, but in elementary. Like me being a kindergarten teacher, I have so many kids that come to school in different types of feelings. Like, oh, my mom kicked my dad out, and they're only 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So they know these things, and this is taking a toll on them because they'll come to school crying.
Yeah, dealing with some real shit.
Yeah, like, oh, my dad went to jail.
Some real shit.
Like, I had a kid, that she walked in and her dad was dead. Like, it's things like that to where, they immediately need to be in therapy. They immediately need to start seeing counselors regularly just so they can talk and get that out, because they're going to hold in that anger, and that anger is going to turn into something else when they're old enough to get into high school, and it might turn into
it's going to manifest in some way.
Right. You saying that reminded me, good old substitute days. I do kind of miss it sometimes.
Come on back to the kid side.
When I was substitute teacher, I was in a middle school. I think it was like a 6th grade or 7th grade class. It wasn't 8th grade because they were young. And we were like doing a little project where they were just like writing letters or something to a person. And so everything's going well. Everybody's writing because it's pretty easy and everybody wanted to do that. So that was going well. And I noticed this girl, she is like crying at her desk. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, okay, what is going on? Come to find out, her brother's like in the army and she's like worried about him. And I'm like, you're like fucking 10 or 9. Like, and she's like over here sobbing that something's going to happen to her brother.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm glad I'm me. So, you know, I'm trying to like talk and be a kind of a counselor in a moment, because I'm like, I don't know if there had been a different type of substitute, what they would have done with that child.
Yeah.
Would they have sent her out of the classroom, or oh, okay, or like
walk
Suck it up,
away,
Buttercup.
I genuinely, I think I talked to her. She stopped crying. She started to feel better. You know, I'm like, I helped, but sometimes people can't always, they just don't always have somebody to help.
Yeah. Well, you never know what's going on in somebody's life.
Right.
Like, you just never know.
You don't. So it's just so interesting. That's just, I mean, it really comes down to that, what you just said. Nobody ever knows what anybody's going through.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you can't judge. But it's hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just going back to the statistics that you read earlier about all these problems with children, essentially, people under 18, like, yeah, if they had more support or more help in school, where they're spending a good majority of their time,
all their goddamn time,
like that would make such a difference.
Yeah.
And let's not even talk about the LGBTQ youth. They kind of have their own statistic of stuff.
They got their own stuff going on.
Yeah, because they're holding things in. They're not talking. They don't want to talk to their family about. They're not comfortable talking to their friends about.
Yeah.
Their teachers about. And sometimes kids come to school. I mean, I don't know how they act at home per se, but sometimes they come to school and that's their outlet.
Yeah.
So they'll come to school, you know, acting uncomfortable like they want to. And baby, I know me as a teacher, I'm going to let you be what you want to be. I'm going to let you do what you want to do. Like, as long as you're comfortable, look, I can speak. That's how my cousin was. I know definitely when he went to school, he was him because his friends loved it. They didn't care. But when he went home,
he shut that down.
Yeah,
right.
You shut that shit down real quick.
Yeah.
And so that's very true. People live that, and it's just, it does kind of suck. And then, that's another thing. So when I was talking about labels, not necessarily that everybody wants to be labeled with something, but I think it's the same way with how I feel about people think there's agendas. I don't think there's an agenda. I think that it's 2021 and everybody's finally comfortable saying, you know what? I'm done hiding.
Right. Right.
So it's like, I think maybe it's like everybody's finally saying there is something wrong with me.
Yeah.
I'm done not saying that, you know, and then when people start talking about it and then people hear, like, hopefully somebody's listening and they hear your story and maybe they can relate or maybe they want to go get themselves checked out because they say, oh, fuck, you know, or something like that. But it's just like, as long as we're talking, then people can learn and actually do something. And maybe that's what BetterHelp and Talkspace. But I just feel like people aren't hiding anymore, which is good. But definitely people are still trying to act like nothing's happening.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah. Well, there's still a stigma. I mean, like, there's very much still a stigma out there on mental health issues. For sure.
And I know it's big in the black community because people in the black community, we have a problem with going to the doctor and we don't believe in talking to therapy. Well, let me not say we don't believe, but you know, there's a lot of black people that don't believe in going to therapy. You just need to go to church, or you just need to pray, or you just need to come talk to your mama, or you just need to talk to somebody or whatever. But that's not gonna fix me. That's not gonna fix my problems, because half of the time that is
my problem.
Yeah, they love to. Why you want to go tell our business? Keep that in the family. The girl,
they don't even know you.
Family's my problem.
Okay, all these damn secrets.
Yeah.
Yes. So we can close. We kind of close this. So, has anybody experienced a scrub back up. A terrible occurrence that's impacted you? Any examples or stories? I mean,
a terrible occurrence.
like I know as a child, my parents got divorced. I mean, I don't feel like that. I did take a toll on me, but you know, that can also cause things as you're in your adulthood, things in your childhood, causing things in your adulthood. So like a divorce, or your parents separating, or you know, shit, you're seeing your family members fight. I remember seeing my family members physically fight. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The ghetto.
No.
And do you think that led to your anxiety issues?
For sure.
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of volatile situations and times and things, and not just with family, friends, people out. Like, so I don't know. I feel like that does cause a lot of anxiety because you're just like
waiting for shit to pop off.
Bad things to happen. Yeah, you're always waiting for something bad to happen. Like, your mind's always going to the worst.
For sure.
And I just kind of feel like sometimes it could be a benefit because, like, if the worst happens, then you're already prepared.
Yeah.
That's Taurus.
Yeah.
True.
Taurus.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Because, see, I prepare for the best. I just believe, I go into every situation believing that everything's going to go my way.
Yeah, no.
That must be nice.
No, really. I tell her she lives in a what if world?
Maybe.
A glass half full kind of world.
Kind of.
Sydney looks at everything, like, in the positive.
I've been described as whimsical. It's kind of a double-edged sword, though, because I do like that, but at the same time, like,
it gets you sometimes.
I definitely have, like y'all earlier this year, like, I didn't come out of my room for 4 days. Like, I do shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just like a one-time thing. That happens. I had a breakdown every year in college. I am fun, but that's because, like, I choose.
The fact that you said I am fun, like, don't get it wrong.
I promise.
Fun, but on the other side, I got my lows.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody go through some
person, but I have my lows.
Has there been a particularly bad experience you've had with anxiety? Like, can you remember a time where it was the worst of the worst?
Shit, which time? Man, I just had so many horrific things happen to me. Like you said the other day, like, so, like, I've had things like I've got my car physically stolen from my body. So, and I almost got ran over with my own car.
Fuck.
So, you know, things like that can take a toll on somebody.
Yeah.
So, just, I don't know, just situations that I feel like, I mean, like, I've gotten shot at, like, it's just different things.
Jesus, Nigeria.
Right. It sounds like I live my life on the edge, but I really don't be doing nothing. These people be bothering me. Like, I don't understand.
So, yeah, like, literally, she's been shot at, yet I voluntarily walked into a forest full of people I did not know and proceeded to smoke the drugs that they had with them.
You know.
But I just want to mind my business and look at me.
Look at what happens.
And, you know, I mean, going back to a terrible occurrence, I mean, I always say, well, I mean, I guess I say it to myself, maybe it's my first time saying it out loud, but I mean, losing my sister and my dad the way, sometimes I always just kind of focus on my dad, but I mean, truthfully, losing my sister and my dad like a year apart fucked me up. Mm-hmm. I'm not the same person. If they had never left, I would be a different person. Mm-hmm. So I always say that, like, that's when I realized, like, oh, okay, I'm cynical now. That's like, I just kind of transformed into a different, because I was like, okay, everybody dies. Yeah. So I kind of have a little fucked up view on, you know, right, people and them leaving, and so I just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna leave first, but I'm gonna get you. Everybody's gonna die, so, you know.
And that's created issues with other relationships, I'm guessing.
Oh, probably. Yeah. So
have you kind of like gone through with therapy on pinpointing the behaviors that have developed from those occurrences?
Probably like yes and no, not like specifically talking about that, but I mean, I do talk about like our relationships, you know, and how I navigate those. I do I do reflect on how, because I've recently realized I think I'm the toxic one.
I'm the problem.
So, I'm working, like I said, I'm in therapy, y'all.
Yeah,
I had an appointment just last week. I'm working on it. We're going to keep on coming back always.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, so do y'all allow your illness to define you?
No. I mean, I already know I'm crazy, so that's not even nothing.
Yeah, I think I do. I know in particular my fiance does not like me referring myself as, not that he doesn't like me saying I'm bipolar, he just doesn't like it being my definer. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I kind of make it my definer. And it's not, it shouldn't be. Right. But sometimes it's like, oh, well, I'm like this because of this, and maybe that's a cop out, but I don't know.
I get that.
That's why I feel like I was just saying, like, I don't, like, I try to, play into my other side, and like, I'm trying to work through and figure out it's a recipe, but I haven't found it yet. But once I do, I think I can, find the recipe to pull me out of those holes. Yeah. Because sometimes you don't know when you're just walking, and then it's like, oh, fuck, I fell. Right. And then you're in it, and there's literally, you're trying to claw your way out.
Right. Yeah. Well, and there's not a fix, right? Like, you're not ever gonna not be doing this, Like, you're going to be working on your mental health and dealing with your mental health for the rest of the time the good Lord got you on this earth. So it's a continuous journey. Like, I experienced that myself of, like, I think my parents wanted it to be like, she's fixed, and it's a continuous thing.
But I get that, because but they probably just want that a little bit more probably for themselves, though, like a peace of mind.
Exactly.
Like a peace of mind for them to know that you're okay. Like, okay, we got her through that. Yeah. But it's not a phase.
Right. Yeah. Like, yes, you get better and you get on medication and you get stable, and that's awesome. And that's what we want. Mm-hmm. But it's always going to be there. Yeah. Like, even at the beginning of this year, I had a manic episode. So, I mean, it's always there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. No, yeah. Yeah, you try to act, yeah. Yeah, it is. You think, like, oh, I'm doing so much better.
Yeah, and that's great. Like, it's awesome. Yeah. I am doing so much better, but it will always be, like, that will always be something I will have to deal with and take medication for the rest of my life.
Yeah. But it does get better.
It does get better.
Get there. Yeah. And I feel like this. So, like, I had like one good week where I, like, after I had therapy, and then I'm like, okay, I finally, like, actually implemented what we talked about, and I had a great week, and there was no, like, self-hating, and I had a lot of productivity, and then everything went downhill, and I passed out and had a heat stroke in a Mexican restaurant. So, and then my week was like fucked, and then I've been spending all this time trying to, like, recover and be like, girl, what the fuck is going on? And so we're gonna try again this week. We're gonna try again.
Monday is a new day. Right. It's a new week. We're gonna get it together. Yeah.
What about you? Any last words?
Just make sure you take care of yourself, guys, because you only get one body. Well, look, school.
I mean, you could go to the doctor, but
yeah, definitely make sure your mental health is good, and make sure anybody you need to eliminate out of your life that is not good for your mental health, do so, because I've definitely been around people that were fucking my mental health up so bad that I didn't notice it until they were not around me anymore, and then I started feeling better, and I was just like, what the fuck? That's what it was.
We ain't gonna name no names.
No, really, but yeah.
I'd just say, I would say check in with your people.
Yes.
Like, legitimately check in with your people. Don't just ask, how are you? Looking for the I'm fine answer. Mm-hmm. Like, actually check in with people. And
for people on the other end, don't say I'm fine. I think people also start just.
Yeah.
It might be uncomfortable because I'm that way. Sometimes, like, I feel some type of way, but I can't find the words to express it. So I just be like, no. And then you try to say, like, oh, maybe I was overreacting. No. Just say how the fuck you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the first step to trying to get on a mental health journey is just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And the first person you got to be honest with is yourself.
Yep.
No. I will say, okay, the last thing, when you said that, just remember, therapy is hard because
you got to be fucking honest with yourself.
You're going to have to be honest, and you're going to figure out the same way. Like, I've been realizing some shit about myself, and it's not like they're all great realizations.
Right.
They're not. There are a lot of realizations of like, oh, like, yeah, bitch, you've been fucking shit up.
Oh, that's not a good trait. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, like, I'm not joking when I say, like, I think I am toxic. So, you know, you have to realize
But you know
things.
what? And that sounds real, like, hard when you say it. Like, oh, I think I'm the toxic one. But if you can identify areas in your life and your behaviors that you want to change, like, identifying them is the first step. And then you can develop new behaviors off of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
New behavior.
You're not just a toxic person who will forever be toxic, you know?
What's that thing? It was on Housewives or something. But I think it was something about somebody losing weight or whatever. But they were just like, it was like she was trying to beat herself up about it or whatever. And they were like, no, don't think about that. It was like, you're going to do this. So it's like, just don't beat yourself up. Just like make a plan and know that you want to do better. And like, I think that might be a great start. Yeah. Just say like, I know shit's fucked up. Try to make some semblance of a plan. Don't make a long ass plan. I'd make long plans. Sometimes short term goals are better.
Yeah.
Short term goals that you can achieve are better.
Yeah. The only thing you can do is just do your best.
Yes. Literally. Just wake up and do your best and you will receive the best.
Yeah.
Manifestation, energy, all of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if you do have a down day, is it safe to say allow yourself to be down or allow yourself to live in it? Should you give yourself the chance or should you try to snap out of it?
I don't think live in it. Like, that's not healthy to stew in your shit. Like, it's not healthy to go and lock yourself away for 4 days. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, that's not healthy behavior. I would say if you're feeling down, like, go and reach out to the people that you know love you or care for you. Because there's somebody out there that cares for you. And just by reaching out to anybody to say, hey, I'm not feeling well. Like, can you come over and watch a movie with me? Can you go get food with me? Like, you know,
just a little thing.
Yeah, just little things that make a connection and make you feel not alone.
There's the key. Don't be alone.
Don't be alone. Bad things happen when you're alone.
No, really.
Sometimes, yes. But that was awesome. Yes. So please protect yourselves, protect your mind, protect your heart, protect your body.
Protect your feelings.
Yes.
Know that
you're not alone.
You're
not alone.
You're not alone. You're going to get through it.
Yeah.
And take your time. Be patient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Be
no
patient.
Rush into helping yourself.
Yeah.
I know that's hard for my impatient people. I'm one of y'all, but you have to be patient. You really, really do.
Yeah.
You really
It's not going to change overnight, but it can change slowly for the better if you're persistent. Yeah. If you want it to. You got to want that, though.
Right.
You do have to want it.
You do. You got to want it.
It's very easy to just stew in your shit and live in your crazy.
Sometimes that's easier for people.
Yeah.
To just sulk in their pity party.
It's hard to change, but it's worth it.
Yes.
It's worth it.
It is.
So thank you guys for tuning in to our nice mental health, mental illness, mental awareness episode with our wonderful guests that came with a lot of good things.
Yeah. So we have all the links and everything. thank y'all for sticking around. We hope you're still here at the end of the episode. You know, we love our good long episodes. We don't have too many. So when you get a long episode from us, that just means it's a real good ass talk. So I will say we have one more episode and we are going to take a hiatus, y'all. We've been giving y'all content for like 7.5 months straight. So we're going to take a break and we're going to get some stuff. Also, Colleen is our graphic artist. She's behind all of the designs that y'all see. So we're going to take a break. We're going to get some new shit ready.
Rebrand, baby.
And we're going to come back for season 3 with y'all. But tune in for our last episode, which is the anniversary episode.
Yay!
Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and don't forget to hit the bell so you can see every time we post.
Post show. But until next time,
you better holla.